it's Olivia. With Christmas right around the corner, I want to honor it by talking about my top 7 favorite Christmas movies of all time. I watch these movies every year, love them, never get sick of them, they're my favorite. Now, this was a hard decision because I personally have tons of Christmas movies that I love, so it was hard only picking 7. But if you have seen these movies and you like them, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments if you agree. Or if you haven't seen any of them, then you need to watch them. Okay, so starting out at number 7, the bottom of the list, working my way up to the top, we have the movie Prancer. I love this movie. It's such a sweet, cute, heartfelt movie, and when I used to live in Minnesota, I'd watch it every single year with my cousins and grandparents. Giving you guys a quick overview of the plot, it's about a young girl named Jessica whose mother died when she was little, so her family kind of struggles with money right now, and they're not very happy all the time. But Jessica's just a little girl and she still believes in Santa and she still believes in like the miracles of Christmas. She comes across an injured reindeer one day and believes it's Santa's reindeer, Prancer. So she hides it in her shed and takes care of it. But word starts to get around because, you know, kind of hard to keep a giant reindeer in your backyard hidden for long. And eventually people find out. But I don't want to give away too much, so that's all I'm going to leave it at. Now, this did make my top 7 Christmas movie list because it's a really cute concept that, like, no other movies have. I mean, not many Christmas movies focus on, like, the reindeer, mostly just Santa Claus. And it is an older film, so it has, like, a vintage vibe to it. It's very simple. There's not, like, technology and crazy things where people are, like, posting the reindeer on social media. It's just a sweet movie about a little girl who wants to help Santa's reindeer. But I also like it because it's not all just cupcakes and rainbows either. I mean, her family does struggle financially, like I mentioned earlier. So it does have more of like a grasp on reality and it can have things that people relate to all around. Like little kids, like the whole Prancer stuff, and then like adults and older people can kind of relate and really feel for the adults in this movie. So you kind of feel bad for the little girl and the parents because they're just trying to do their job. The movie Prancer isn't that long and it has a very fast pacing. I mean, they kind of build up the whole mystery of the reindeer where she sees like quick glimpses of it in the forest like throughout the movie, and then eventually she meets Prancer. And her dad argue a lot because they have different beliefs and he doesn't always agree or listen to her when she, like, says stuff because he's busy trying to make money for the family. But then their bonds strengthen, and this movie overall just has a very cute feel to it. It honestly gives, like, a dramatic Hallmark movie vibe. Has, like, a Little House on the Prairie setting, but it's more, like, entertaining and intense than that. Because you're like, oh no, what's gonna happen next? Is the little girl gonna be able to save Prancer, or is the town gonna get to him first? And Jessica does such a good job acting. I mean, for being a young girl who's like 11 or 12, she does a fantastic job. She's a really likable character, and they don't like make her super dramatic either or be like too much. She's like the perfect amount. I honestly love every single character in this movie because once again, this movie's not long and the characters aren't overdone. There's no like annoying try-hard characters that like shows and people try to make like there is now. They're just all very simple. It's a simple, fun movie. It's a fun movie that all age groups will like because it's not super childish either. Like it does show the hardships and more things that adult will relate to, but also adults and older people will still love the story of Prancer. It's not babyish at all, and it's super fun and awesome. So if you haven't seen this movie yet, definitely give it a watch. It has such a nostalgic vibe to it, and the setting, the small town feel, it's just all very good. Okay, that review is at number 7, so it is my favorite out of all like the other Christmas movies that I didn't add to my list, but it's not my favorite out of everything on the list. But still a good movie, classic, would recommend. Now, going up the list, we're on number 6. And in 6th place for my favorite Christmas movie, it's A Mickey Mouse Christmas Carol. Now, the reason I did the Mickey Mouse version of A Christmas Carol instead of like the Charles Dickens and some of like the other million variations of this movie was because this one is more lighthearted, it's more fun. The other ones kind of scare me a little. I have no idea which one it is. I don't know if it was the original or some other one, but one year we watched like A Christmas Carol in my language arts class, and it was terrifying. It was like had like a creepy, it was like almost like a black, white, and gray film. There was no color to it. And there was like this giant shadow dude that just like freaked me out. I was like, oh my gosh. So yeah, that one was terrifying. I have no idea what else to say about it because I'm pretty sure I like trauma blocked it. It was so weird, but this one is my favorite, the Mickey Mouse one. It follows the same foundation as all the other Christmas carols. It's basically the same movie, just with the Mickey Mouse characters. So Ebenezer Scrooge plays like the rich, money-hungry kind of douchebag who doesn't want to share anything. He's like, this is all mine, mine. And he basically points and laughs at homeless people and poor people. Which is fitting. I mean, Scrooge is like known for being really rich and stuff in all the other Mickey Mouse movies, so I like that part. He's just a little nicer in the other ones. The three ghosts, past, future, and present, go to visit him and like make him kind of learn from his ways and make him a better person, obviously. So at the end, he's nice. So once again, same foundation. I just like how it has like the Mickey Mouse characters because it's more playful and fun, but still follows the classic, famous Christmas Carol movie. Although, the Goofy scene in this movie, like, freaked me out as a kid. Cause Goofy plays the character of Jacob Marley, and he's in, like, chains, and he's in, like, a spirit form, and now that freaked me out when I was a kid. Obviously, it doesn't now, but I was like, oh my gosh. If y'all don't know, Jacob Marley and Ebenezer Scrooge were like best friends and business partners, and Jacob Marley was super rich too, and then he died and went to hell because he's an awful person, and he's basically warning Scrooge that he has to change or else he'll end up having the same fate as him. The movie's super cute. It's more colorful, entertaining, all the characters are great, and I'm sure the kids and family will appreciate it more than like the Charles Dickens ones and some of the more live action boring ones. And this movie's really cute because you can kind of like see like, oh hey, there's Donald Duck, and you can see like other characters from the Mickey Mouse show, and you can kind of like piece together like who they are in the movie, like who they're supposed to be. Like, for example, Pete is the ghost of Christmas Future. So this movie does still have, like, the more historical and traditional feeling to it, and same foundation as the old one. It's just a little more family-friendly and family fun. This movie holds up well, and I like having it in the background while I make Christmas cookies, or just, like, doing something else, too. And this movie did make my list because I like the whole Christmas Carol story, like, in general. I like how it's, like, about an awful person who like visits the present, future, and past, and then like changes at the end. I think it's a really cool concept that also like has a message and shows people like, hey, don't act like that. So it's like showing people how to be a good person while also doing it in an entertaining movie manner. It's seriously only 26 minutes, like it's really short, so that was number 6. Getting up there, not my favorite, but I did like it more than Prancer. Alright, in my number 5 spot, we have the Santa Claus movies, although not all 3. Personally, my favorite out of the Santa Claus movies, 1, 2, and 3 with Tim Allen, is number 3. Okay, so I'll give like an overview of what number 3 is about, but like, if you haven't seen Santa Claus number 1 or 2, you obviously need to before 3, because now this one, I struggled with choosing between. I love all 3. Like, the Santa Claus movies are one of, seriously, like, the only movies where all 3 movies are good. Like, usually, by the sequel, movies start to kind of get, like, and then by the 3rd one, they're bad. I mean, look at Disney. Really, in Disney movies, the first ones are, like, the only good ones, and then, like, the rest are just kind of straight to streaming, didn't even go to theaters, trash. So, basically, what happens in the first Santa Claus is this guy, Scott, accidentally kills Santa, so then he has to become the new Santa. He's like fully accepted like his role as Santa now because it's the 3rd movie. He has his Mrs. Claus. Life is great. Well, Jack Frost comes along and wants to like sabotage this dude and take over Christmas for himself. And let me tell you, Jack Frost in this movie is not as good looking as the one in the Guardians movie. What I like the most about this movie is there's a bad guy. In the other 2, there's not really a bad guy. In the first one, it's just like Tim Allen trying to like embrace the role of Santa and kind of struggling because like he doesn't want to be Santa Claus. And then in the second movie, he needs to like get married and find a Mrs. Claus or else like you know, the North Pole is kind of gonna be ruined and he'll, like, probably die. I don't know, I haven't seen that one in a while. So not really, like, a central bad guy, just kind of like him being his own enemy, pretty much. Versus in this one, there is a bad guy. And Jack Frost is good. He's a good villain. Because he starts out and, like, pretends that he's a good guy. He's, like, obviously screwing Santa over, but he just seems more, like, childish. Like, he's making mistakes that, like, he could claim that he didn't mean to. He's just kind of, like, doing stupid sabotages where they're, like, tiny little things that, like, can still screw Christmas over, but could easily be played off as he could blame someone else for doing it, or could be like, oh, I didn't mean to, I'm so sorry. And he has that, like, charm and wit to him, so everybody else, like, all the other elves love him, but Santa, like, knows something suspicious is going on. And Jack Frost is supposed to be more, like, comedic in this movie. Like, he's not, like, all around evil. I mean, he is, but, like, he doesn't act like a villain. He acts like he's kind of goofy, like a funny villain. I feel like this movie, all ages will love it. I mean, kids, adults, maybe, I mean, the Santa Claus movies, I feel like the first two, like, were more all ages friendly. This one, I feel like kids like it more just because of Jack Frost's humor. I mean, I've been watching it since I was, like, a little kid, so I love it. And I think it still holds up well, and it's a good trilogy. I mean, it's a good movie to the first and second. So I do appreciate how it, like, isn't, like, a bad movie. It's still really good. And it has a good idea. I mean, all three of these movies have, like, great ideas. Like, the first movie with him, like, trying to figure out how to be Santa, to this movie where Jack Frost is the bad guy. And I mean, like, I can understand the dude. Like, everybody loves Santa Claus. What about Jack Frost? Like, he brings snow. I mean, to some places. A little mad at him right now for not giving me any snow in hot South Carolina. I mean, I'm at that awkward stage in life right now where, like, I can't exactly wear shorts and t-shirts because it's too cold, but I can't exactly wear sweaters and, like, pants because it's too hot. Like, come on, South Carolina, what's it gonna be? But yeah, the Santa Claus movies are, like, peak Christmas movies. I mean, these are the ones that most people have seen and most people quote and, like, what people think of, like, when they think Christmas. So I don't really have that much to say about this one. I mean, it's a good Christmas movie, you know? It takes place in, like, the North Pole where Santa runs. It just has, like, a great concept, and also they did a great job with, like, the designs of, like, the elves and Santa and the North Pole. I mean, it looks like exactly how I pictured that stuff would look like. So overall, I really love that movie. But not enough to make it into my top 3, but still on the list. Now, that was number 5. So coming up to number 4, in 4th place on my list, we have Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. Okay, please don't come at me. Like, I love the first one, don't get me wrong. Love it. It's original, it's classic, nostalgic, you know, whatever. But I like the second one a lot more, just because, come on, he's lost in New York. Like, he's not just at his house alone anymore. He's in a whole city by himself at this point. Bro got upgraded to the final boss. The Home Alone movies are amazing. And I'm just gonna say, there's only 2 Home Alone movies. The first one and the second one. The rest of them don't exist to me. They're awful and disappointments, and the director should have just stopped with the first and second because then they would have been masterpieces. Now, when movies make a phenomenal first one and an amazing second movie, and they're like, hey, these movies were fantastic, let's just keep throwing out cash grabs. No. You had a good 2, maybe 3 movie run, now be done. Or else you're gonna end up with the same fate as Fast and Furious. But I'm not gonna talk about that. I'm gonna focus on the second movie. Obviously, he's lost in New York. And being the sweet, innocent, dumb little kid he is, instead of, like, talking to an adult and trying to get help, he's gonna explore New York. Because when you're a kid, you're invincible, right? I mean, what's the worst that can happen to you? Well, the classic famous bad guys are back in this one. Harry and Marv. Freshly busted out of prison, the sticky bandits are back. Somehow, they just happen to be, coincidentally, in New York, same as Kevin. Like, at that point, they just need to get, like, a little leash on Kevin and just, like, tie it around his hand, because what were his parents thinking? I mean, I get it. They have a lot of kids. They'd be stressed out. They almost missed their flight. But come on, get one of those, like, family ropes and, like, all hold on to it. Or at least just hold on to Kevin's hand. Because after the first movie, let me tell you, my parents, like, would not trust me to, like, be on my own. They'd be like, nope, you're staying right in front of us where we can see you at all times. Honestly, I blame the mom and dad in this one. Like, it's not necessarily Kevin's fault. I mean, there was a guy that was, like, looked copy and paste just like his dad, so he followed him. The plot to this movie is amazing, and this one is even more, like, emotional than the first one because he's in, like, a whole other city. Although he did it right. I mean, for a Christmas vacation, they should have gone to New York, not California or wherever they went to. So Kevin had the better idea. And this movie is just more fun because of the setting. I mean, he goes to a hotel and he pays one of the dudes with gum instead of cash. I mean, it's just hilarious. And he's got, like, everybody in that town, like, plotting against him. So I do like this movie more because it's, like, more comical and just kind of stupid. But it's still really entertaining and intense because, like, now with no neighbors or anybody he knows around him, like, Marv and Harry can basically catch him. I mean, they're in New York, for Pete's sakes, kidnapping central. And I do appreciate in this movie how Kevin befriends another older person, who I like to call the pigeon lady because I don't know her name. And he just has that sweet bond with her, like how he did in the first movie. He had it with, like, his old man neighbor. And Kevin's family is just hilarious. I mean, the whole scene where, like, they're passing each other the bags, and, like, the mom's like, pass this to Kevin, pass it to Kevin, and, like, the kids are all passing down Kevin's bag, and then, like, the kid turns around, he's like, Kevin's not here, Kevin, and it, like, gets to the mom, and she's, like, screams his name and then passes out. I mean, that's just, like, the Home Alone scene. I mean, that one's, like, a classic. His family was great in this movie. They're just so over Kevin. The other siblings are like, well, here's another trip ruined because of him. So Home Alone 2 is amazing. I mean, I've seen it so many times now, I could probably quote that whole movie. So it is number 4 on my list just because, like, it's, you know, a little older, just kind of, like, there. Doesn't really do anything real exciting for me anymore. Okay, now we're coming up to my top 3. The newer animated Grinch that came out in 2018. Not the monstrosity live-action one they made with Jim Carrey. Love Jim Carrey. Awful movie. The newer one, where it's, like, in an animated style. Now, before I talk about this movie, I want to go back to talking about the live-action Grinch. What were they thinking? The Whoville people are a-holes. They're not nice or fun at all. Cindy Lou Who looks like she crawled up from the pits of hell. I mean, what are these characters? The Grinch looks terrifying. No, that movie does not exist. Nope, bye-bye. Anywho, back to what I was talking about. I love The Grinch so much. I love that story so much. Like, I seriously could not pick between, like, the new 2018 one or the classic original Dr. Seuss one. Because, like, it's nostalgic, beautiful, love it. Although this new one is hilarious. I love how he has his cute little dog, Max, and the fat reindeer Fred. Oh my gosh. Dude, I love Fred. I am a number 1 Fred stan. And his little baby Fred, oh my gosh, I love that movie. Anywho, this movie follows the same foundation as all the other ones. The Grinch has, like, a tiny heart, hates Christmas. Although in this movie, they actually make you, like, sympathize with him more. In this movie, they show that he was, like, raised in an orphanage, never knew his parents, and he saw everyone around him have, like, an amazing Christmas, tons of gifts, wonderful, happy family, and he never got any of that. So he, like, hated Christmas because he never got to experience it. So then he plans to, like, take away all the Whoville's Christmas, and he takes their presents or decorations. So basically their houses are left with nothing. But instead of being sad and, like, crying about it, the Whovilles all join together and they sing, and they're still happy, and then the Grinch, like, realizes that Christmas isn't about, like, the presents and, like, having biological parents to him. I mean, it's about, like, the friends and family you've made along the way. So he brings all their stuff back, and then he becomes friends with the Whoville, because in the original one and in the 2018 one, the Whoville people are actually nice and cute. and don't look like they want to murder you and yell at you like they're in New Jersey or something. Hey, I'm walking here. I don't know. I got beef against the live action one, man. But anywho, so 2018 Grinch is so cute. And it came out when I would have been 9, because it came out in 2018. It's 2024, so yeah, I would have been 9 years old. And I went to the theater with my dad and friend at the time. And then we moved, and I was really sad because, like, me and her were best friends. I just love the style and animation of this movie. It's so soft. Everything feels just so Christmassy, so fun, magical, and the characters are all adorable. Cindy Lou Who is so cute, and her little friends are adorable, and, like, I like how she has more of a role in this movie, and you really get to, like, know her as a character, and how she doesn't want, like, presents. Her only wish for Christmas was for her mom to be, like, not as stressed, and for her mom to just be happy, because her mom is a single parent, and she works hard, and she has 3 kids to take care of, Cindy, and then the 2 crazy twin boys. So it was so amazing to see a kid that's not like, I want this, I want that, and just a kid that, like, you know, a little sweet girl who just wants her mom to be happy. And I loved how the Grinch and Cindy Lou Who, like, became friends, and how she kind of helped him realize, like, how to be happy and how to be a good person. Because, like, in the original, like, in the Dr. Seuss version, I mean, we saw how the Grinch kind of changed because of Cindy Lou Who's influence, but, like, she didn't have, like, a big role in it because we never really, like, knew who she was. Like, she was just a girl that, like, came out of bed and ran into him. In this movie, she has a much bigger role, and we actually get to see, like, her life. And I love that. And the Grinch is lovable, too. He's not, like, all around kind of bad and evil, like, in the live action. And, like, even in the original Dr. Seuss one, I mean, you don't really, like, sympathize with him because we don't really know what's going on. He's just, like, a bad dude at the beginning and then a good dude at the end. This one, he's not, like, necessarily bad at the beginning of this movie. He's just kind of, like, misunderstood. And dude, there is a ton of amazing voice actors in this. Hello? There's Rashida Jones, Benedict Cumberbatch, Pharrell Williams, and Tyler, the Creator, sings You're a Mean One in that movie. I mean, hello? These people are all, like, awesome. So I do like this Grinch a lot more because it follows the same cute story, but also we get to see more of the characters, like the Grinch and Cindy Lou Who, and we kind of get to, like, understand them. This movie's more emotional than, like, the original Dr. Seuss, which is just, like, a fun movie. So that's why this was number 3 on my list. Love this movie. It's so cute. Okay, number 2. Now, out of all, like, my heartfelt fun movies I've done so far, this one's a little different. Number 2 on my list is Violent Night. Now, this movie is newer. It came out in 2022, and I low-key love it. It's super rated R, has tons of blood, gore. Don't show your children this. It's about an elite group of mercenaries who, like, take a family hostage in their own house, kind of trapping them in there. Like, this rich family who's all got, like, issues with each other. And they all kind of, like, set each other up, and it's just hilarious because these rich people are hostage in their own home. But Santa Claus happens to be in the area, and he comes around to show why this Nick is no saint. Santa Claus saves the day, beating up the mercenaries. It's just all around chaos. I mean, come on, there's nothing better than a fat Santa that was your childhood beating up a bunch of people. It's like if Mickey Mouse went rogue and just decided to beat the crap out of people too. If you haven't seen this movie yet, and you're obviously allowed to watch rated R movies or older, you'll love this movie. I mean, it's just a fun Christmas movie that, like, is obviously very different and not so sentimental as the others. And it's at number 2 on my list because it's so fun and entertaining. I mean, I love it. Although I gotta be in, like, a certain mood to watch it. Like, obviously, if I'm in, like, a happy Christmas spirit, I'm not gonna go throwing on Violent Night. And it's a new plot and a new concept. I mean, The Grinch, Home Alone are based off of, like, the originals. Santa Claus 3, phenomenal, but I mean, like, there's already a first and second one, and it's, like, a basic, like, Christmas movie, you know? Mickey Mouse Christmas Carol, based off of another original Christmas Carol. Prancer Still cute, love that movie, but like, you know, once again, just like a basic Christmas movie. This one is not. This one's fun, entertaining, and awesome. Very violent, very cool. And it's like really clever and funny. If you haven't seen Violent Night, you need to watch it. It's just hilarious. Okay, and then at the top of my list, in the #1 spot, Klaus, the Netflix film. Now, I already did a Klaus review, so I'm not gonna like go into it. So if you have not seen my Klaus review, go check it out. But love that movie. Seriously, brings me tears every time. For those of you who haven't seen my Klaus review, it's about a postman who gets shipped off to like island way across on the other side of the world because he has to reach 6,000 letters. But it's like a war town with people like constantly against each other fighting. So he basically has to kind of like manipulate the people and the kids a little bit to like mail off letters. And then he becomes good at the end, blah, blah, blah. Great movie. So if you have not seen any of those movies I put on my list, go watch them now. But yeah, that was my top 7 favorite Christmas movie review. And this is another honorable mention. This isn't a Christmas movie, it's a Thanksgiving movie, but it has kind of the same vibe as Violent Night. It's called Thanksgiving. I wanted to do a review for that on Thanksgiving, but I forgot. So I'm just gonna like quickly give it a shout out right now. After a crazy Black Friday deal where people got killed and trampled over because people are psychopaths when it comes to Black Friday shopping, a mysterious masked man terrorizes people in Plymouth, Massachusetts, picking off victims one by one, and it is revealed that it's actually a part of an even bigger sinister plan. And he kind of is dressed like a pilgrim, so I guess that's a Thanksgiving tie there, but yeah, that movie is amazing, and it's like super gory, horror, rated R, so once again, like kind of like Violent Night, but it's fun to watch that movie around Thanksgiving and then watch Violent Night around Christmas. Because then you got all the other fun Christmas movies like Klaus and the Grinch, and Thanksgiving movies like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and like some of the other fun ones, and then you got like just the gory rated R ones. But yeah, once again, I'd love to hear in the comments what you think of any of these movies I listed, and I'd also love to hear your favorite movies. I mean, maybe there was a movie you really love that I didn't have on here. I'd love to hear like why you love it, what's it about, and maybe like I'll give it a shout out too if I really like that one. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you've enjoyed, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any other movie reviews coming up. We got Sonic 3 coming up. I know y'all are so excited for that one. Not gonna lie, I'm actually pretty excited. I love Dr. Eggman. He's like the only one who I'm in it for, Jim Carrey. Oh, Nos something, the vampire one. That one looks freaking amazing. Dudes, I'm excited for Nosferatu, the OG vampire dude. Excited. So yeah, ring that notification bell and subscribe so you don't miss. And have a merry early Christmas. Let me know in the comments if y'all have any like plans coming up for that day, or like what are some fun traditions you do. Because right after this review, I'm gonna go downstairs in the kitchen with my mom and we are making 12 Christmas cookies. But yeah, some of my favorites we make like peanut butter chocolate cookies. I'm making 3 of my own cookies this year that I've never made before. One of them is a mint chocolate cookie, red velvet, white chocolate, and dark chocolate cookie, and then making a hot cocoa cookie. So yeah, I'm pretty excited for that. And I better get going because we have a lot to do still. We didn't even get started. Me and my mom sat downstairs for 2 hours just writing down like the ingredients we'll need. But anywho, thanks for watching, and I hope y'all have a great Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever y'all celebrate coming up. Oh, also, these are my dad's suspenders I stole. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, bye.